The bank teller looked at my ID, then at the debit card in my hand, and finally back at me with an expression that made my stomach tighten. She lowered her voice and asked if my husband had really told me about the account. I stared at her, confused, because 3 days earlier I had married the man I thought I knew completely. What I discovered that morning would make me question everything about our marriage. My name is Claire. I am 37 years old and I work as a 4th grade teacher. 3 days before the bank visit, I had married Daniel Bennett in a simple courthouse ceremony. We had dinner with our families afterward, and nothing about the day felt unusual. Daniel drove an old blue Taurus with a cracked bumper, wore inexpensive clothes, and never acted impressed by money. He seemed patient, kind, and completely devoted to his daughter Sophie, who had once been one of my students. After our wedding, Daniel gave me a debit card with my name on it. He casually told me to use it whenever I needed something. When I asked which account it belonged to, he simply called it our household account. I thought nothing of it. So when I went to the bank a few days later to activate the card, I expected a normal checking account with enough money for groceries and household expenses. Instead, the teller showed me the balance. There were millions of dollars in the account. I honestly thought I had misunderstood the number. My hands became cold as I stared at the screen. Daniel had never mentioned being wealthy. I walked outside, sat inside my Honda, and called him immediately. When I asked what he actually did for a living, there was a long silence. Then he asked where I was. When I told him I was outside the bank, he said not to drive anywhere because he was coming. 20 minutes later, that same battered Taurus pulled into the parking lot. Daniel climbed into my car and sat beside me. I looked directly at him and demanded the truth. He admitted the account belonged to both of us and that he had added my name after the wedding. Then he finally told me what he had hidden. His family owned a huge commercial real estate business with office buildings, shopping centers, warehouses, storage facilities, and other investments across several states. Daniel was not simply comfortable. He was extremely wealthy. The money itself did not make me angry. The secrecy did. I reminded him how I had helped him find cheaper tires, how I had watched him compare prices, and how I had believed he lived a modest life. He said he had never actually lied about being poor. I told him that was exactly the problem. He had watched me believe something that was not true and had never corrected me. Daniel explained that his first marriage had been destroyed by money. His former wife had wanted a bigger house, luxury, vacations, and a more expensive lifestyle. His family had never trusted her, and he had spent years trying to keep everyone happy. After the divorce, he decided that he wanted a quiet relationship where nobody loved him because of his wealth. I understood his fear, but I reminded him that I was not a stranger. I was his wife, and apparently his entire family already knew the truth. A few days later, I met his mother Margaret and his sister Vanessa. Their questions immediately made me uncomfortable. They asked whether I planned to keep teaching and how my life would change now that I was married. Vanessa smiled and told me I had more options now. I finally asked whether they were worried I had married Daniel for his money. Nobody answered directly, but their silence told me enough. That evening, I confronted Daniel. I asked whether his family believed I was using him. He admitted that his mother worried about it. Then I asked whether he had defended me. Again, he became quiet. That silence hurt more than any accusation could have. I realized Daniel had spent his entire life avoiding conflict, even when avoiding conflict meant allowing someone else to feel alone. The situation became worse when his family held a meeting about trusts, company ownership, and Sophie's future. I asked Daniel if I should attend. He hesitated and told me I did not need to be there. I reminded him that I was now his family too. Later, I learned Vanessa had questioned whether I truly knew nothing about the money before our wedding. Daniel admitted that he had defended me, but he had not challenged her doubts strongly enough. I packed a small bag and went to stay with my friend Ruth. Sophie watched me leave and asked if I was still going to be her stepmother. I hugged her and promised that I was. When she asked if I was coming back, I could only tell her that I did not know yet. For the first time, I was not thinking about Daniel money. I was thinking about whether I could trust the man who had hidden it. 3 days later, Daniel came to Ruth's house. This time, he did not make excuses. He admitted that he had spent his life trying to avoid being judged, and somehow he had ended up judging me first. But there was another secret I had not told him about. His mother, Margaret, had secretly contacted me and asked me to meet her. She placed a legal agreement in front of me, offering a large amount of money in exchange for accepting certain restrictions involving Daniel family assets. She claimed she was not paying me to leave. She called it protection. I took the papers with me and kept them hidden for 2 days. Then I realized something terrible. I had been angry at Daniel for deciding what I needed to know, yet I was now doing exactly the same thing to him, so I called him and showed him the agreement. He was shocked that his mother had approached me. When I admitted that I almost kept it secret because I thought I was protecting him, he looked at me and quietly said that my reasoning sounded exactly like his. That was the moment we finally understood the real problem. Both of us had confused secrecy with protection. Our marriage did not become perfect overnight. Daniel started therapy. He stopped allowing his family to discuss our marriage without including me. We eventually attended couples counseling, and I met with my own attorney so I could understand my rights and choices. Daniel never pressured me to return. He never offered me more money. He simply gave me the freedom to decide whether our marriage was worth rebuilding. Months later, I returned home. Sophie ran toward me, and Daniel stood quietly behind her with tears in his eyes. We created complete financial transparency. His business remained his, my income remained mine, and our shared household expenses were discussed openly. There were no secret accounts and no hidden agreements. About 6 months later, Margaret apologized. I accepted her apology without pretending that everything had been forgotten. Vanessa eventually did the same. Daniel also apologized, not for being wealthy, but for believing that hiding the truth was safer than trusting the woman he had chosen to marry. Looking back, the millions in that bank account were never the real shock. The money simply exposed what was underneath. Marriage is not about knowing how much money your partner has. It is about knowing whether that person trusts you enough to tell you the truth, even when the truth is difficult. And sometimes the biggest test in a marriage is not whether you can handle someone's wealth. It is whether you can survive the secrets that came with it. If you discovered that your spouse had hidden millions from you, would you stay, leave, or demand the full truth first? Let me know in the comments and tell me where you are watching from.